Chains rattle broken, now we rise. Flag in my hand, stars burn the skies. Truth ain't dead, though the liars try. They scream loud, but the words all die. Guys watching hands, praise to the throne. Freedom ain't free, blood built this home. Continue freedom, keep it alive. Red, white, blue, we bleed to survive. God bless the brave who fight and strive. Continue freedom, keep it alive. Land of the free, ain't bending the knee. Truth in my veins, it's all I see. Patriots roar, no fear in the fight. Continue freedom, stand in the light.
Okay, we are live again. What'd you guys think of that song? That's courtesy of AI, Suno, by the way. So if you want a good AI platform to make a music, I'm not obviously not sponsored by Suno, but it's a fantastic platform. I said, you know what? I'm going to give you guys some waiting music when you're checking it out. So yeah, Suno, S-U-N-O. I saw somebody down here in the comments was already asking. All right, so we're going to talk about, we got a lot to talk about tonight. So very, very interesting stuff. We're going to talk about Pete Hegseth. Obviously, you saw from the thumbnail that we're going to talk about Candace. We're going to talk about Tucker and one of his recent videos that he had on, referencing Israel. So we've got a lot to get into. Let's go ahead and ask you new folks as you hop on board. We've got a lot of new subscribers, and I appreciate you guys. But hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is released. I'm going to play you guys a couple of clips before we get into the Candace stuff because I'm going to give people some time to come on. Let's go ahead and talk about Pete Hegseth and his recent speech to all the generals. And then we're going to get into the views, comments about it, which are absolutely hysterical. But let's listen to a couple of them. We're going to talk about them as we go. And as a guy who served in the military for a considerable portion of my life, I think it's pertinent, and I want to share my thoughts and visions on this with you guys.
To remove the social justice, politically correct, and toxic ideological garbage that had infected our department. To rip out the politics. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that shit. I've made it my mission to uproot the obvious distractions that made us less capable and less lethal. That said, the War Department requires the next step. Underneath the woke garbage is a deeper problem, and a more important problem that we are fixing and fixing fast.
Oop, I think I cut it off early. Oh, well, yeah, I was so relieved when I heard this. Oh, I was so relieved. Part of my time in the military, my first 10 years, the woke stuff was there, but it was really making its debut in the military. And when the way he talked, and of course people said, oh, we spent $6 million to get all these generals there. That's a drop in the bucket. They've almost got $1 trillion budget. So whoop-de freaking do. Here's a couple other clips. Let's get into it. Here we go. And then we'll talk about it.
Too long, we've promoted too many uniformed leaders for the wrong reasons. Based on their race, based on gender quotas, based on historic so-called firsts. We've pretended that combat arms and non-combat arms are the same thing. We've weeded out so-called toxic leaders under the guise of double-blind psychology assessments, promoting risk-averse, go-along-to-get-along conformists instead.
Yes.
You name it, the department did it.
Facts.
Foolish and reckless political leaders set the wrong compass heading, and we lost our way. We became the woke department.
People are flipping out about that one.
Right now, I'm looking out at a sea of Americans who made a choice when they were young men and young women to do something most Americans will not, to serve something greater than yourselves, to fight for God and country, for freedom and the Constitution. You made a choice to serve when others did not, and I commend you.
By the way, just to hear this, to hear a Secretary of Defense, when General Austin, he was my first division commander. I was in 10th Mountain Division, 4th Brigade, 10th Mountain Division down in Fort Polk, Louisiana. And he was my first division commander. And I really respected the guy. I liked the guy. And then he got into the political side of it. He got it as soon as he became SecDef, he got into that political world, and he changed. He changed completely. I'm going to show you a photo that shows the difference. Having a Secretary of Defense to say the things that every soldier in the formation was thinking. Every soldier in the formation was thinking this. Is so refreshing.
The best of America. But this does not mean, and this goes for all of us, that our path to this auditorium on this day was a straight line, or that the conditions of the formations we lead are where we want them to be. You love your country, and we love this uniform, which is why we must do better.
Where are people finding a problem with this? I don't get it. Where are folks finding an issue with this? And there's so many that do. All on the left. Well, not all on the left, but mostly on the left. This is the one that really set them off. And I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to go to what The View said about his remarks and tell you why The View is an all around bad place to get any information. But let's listen to these comments, and oh boy,
with physical fitness and appearance. If the Secretary of War can do regular hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are. So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, a brand new private or a 4-star general, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test. And as the chairman said, yes, there is no PT test.
So they're talking about doing that, basically MOS specific, not MOS specific, but combat focused PT. And again, when I was on active duty, we did this all the time. That was just a component of it. And in fact, it was a huge challenge. You rarely had to worry about, you still had people that would get fat, but when we were doing that stuff, like the fitness wasn't an issue back then. And this is kind of the I guess you'd call it a meme. I don't know if this is a meme, but it's saying we went from a man scared of his own shadow to a real warrior. They say, people love to talk about his inexperience, that he only made it to major, that he, whatever. His level of leadership wasn't at the strategic level. It was more operational level commands and responsibilities. But honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing. I really don't. I don't think that's a bad thing. This guy brings a youthful, new approach, and it's from the warfighter. That's what a lot of soldiers had a problem with, is these guys are so far removed. They've been in the staff jobs, because staff jobs separate you from soldiers in a very big way. They loved soldiers, but they had been doing the PowerPoints and doing the briefings, and it was all about how pretty your slides were, and how you could present the information in different ways, and all this kind of stuff. And not saying that obviously those people are important and they do great work, but they had separated themselves from the warfighters. And Pete Hegseth came out of that world, and he's bringing the same approach from the operational level, the tactical and operational level, into the strategic level. And that's a welcome change. I know that the soldiers on the ground, I haven't spoken to any of them in a while. In fact, I probably ought to text some of my buddies to see what they think about it. But I think it's a wonderful thing. Now, everybody's favorite, commentators on military matters, it's The View. That's where people go to get, how the Secretary of Defense should talk to soldiers. This is Sunny Hostin. Let's listen to Sunny Hostin. I'm sorry to do this to you, but it's important that we see the information. Listen to what she says.
I'm really befuddled by why he did that. The optics were terrible, meaning all of our top military brass are all in one place, and we spent $6 million to get them there. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. It also didn't make a lot of sense to me that he was saying that he was going to toughen physical standards and review the anti-hazing policy by sort of implementing a hazing policy. And then also he said he was going to return to the highest male standard for combat positions because the troops were fat. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how that was supposed to be an uplifting message for our military.
Maybe he's referring to Colonel Sanders.
It was really a bizarre thing.
That's how I know she has no idea what the military is all about, because the military is not looking for an uplifting standard. They're looking for an aggressive standard. They're looking for a standard that makes them happy to be in the military, that they're part of the less than 1% who are willing to join the military. I don't understand how it's an uplifting message, because the military doesn't deal in unicorns and rainbows and kittens and puppies. It's about taking the life of the enemy before they can take the life of Americans. It's about being ruthless and vicious, and you want people in leadership positions who push that sort of thing. I had several of them that led in. They were just hard chargers, guys that led me.
He started talking about woke DEI policies. By the way, there are no gender quotas in the military.
Yes, there are. There absolutely are. When I was in recruiting, that was the last command that I had, was in a recruiting position. And some of it's not necessarily, I guess you would say, at least when I was in, it's been a while. It's been a minute since I was in a recruiting command. But it was, we need to get more of this. Look at those stats in the system. It tells you all that stuff. We need a little more of that. Let's put a little more effort into getting this and getting that.
By the way, he fired more than a dozen military leaders, many of them people of color and women. He fired the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, General Charles Brown Jr., who is African-American. Yeah. He fired the first woman to command the Navy, Admiral Lisa Franchetti. I don't understand the sort of hypocrisy of firing these people, having all these people meet together, and then denigrating them.
But did you look at it? They're looking at him like he has two heads.
Well, they
because it's so important to go to The View to get your information. There's such quality commentary. No, they aren't looking at him like that. In fact, there were a couple of Marines out there. You could hear them. They were, doing their thing. But it's because he's getting rid of people that were put in positions because they wanted them to be the historic first, not because they were actually qualified. Okay. So now that we've got some folks on, we've got quite a few. Let's go ahead and get into Candace Owens. I'm going to leave it there. Give me down in the comments what you all thought of Pete Hegseth's speech. If you watched it, what you thought of those clips. Do you think this is a good direction for the military? Before I get on to Candace, drop it down in the comments. Give me an American flag if you liked it. How about that? Let's drop an American flag down in the comments. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the main topic of tonight. Candace Owens. This is something I've done now 3 videos on Candace Owens, and I used to be a huge Candace fan. I love Candace, actually, and Candace was, everybody liked her because she was quick-witted. She was kind of snarky. She was putting it to leftists, that sort of thing. There was a lot of the Candace Owens destroys type videos out there, and since she has made this, I guess you would call it a transformation, specifically around Israel, but in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination, she's kind of gone into what I consider a bit of a dark place. And the formula that she has been using is make up claims. Sometimes she will say, I have facts or I have receipts. Yet she never shows those receipts, but she says this is a fact. And she makes that fact claim and she follows it up with my assumption, my feeling, which I'm going to show you a montage of all that. My feeling, my hunch, my guess, my assumption is, and all of this. And the people that watch her on a regular basis take that into consideration as though it's a fact. Like it rests on the one fact that she gives. And that's where the deception comes in. In some instances, it's straight up editorial revision. And I'm going to show you several examples of that tonight. But let's look at this first one here. And by the way, this is what her and a lot of her acolytes do as well. Make the false claims and then say, prove me wrong. Well, the whole thing is based on a false premise, or the whole thing is intentional deception. Why are we now trying to disprove deception? And she's getting the traffic one way or the other. She's getting the traffic coming and going. And I see a lot of folks in the comments, and I'm going to get to the comments after I get through some of this stuff, so keep making them. We will have a moment to go through all the comments in here. So here's the first one I'm going to bring up. This is a recent one. This is September 30th, 2025. By the way, Milk Bar TV has done a really good job of putting together some of these montages, and they're kind of devoted to this sort of stuff. So we'll
footage of
go
Tyler
follow them
Robinson
on X.
that is now circulating from a car accident that he had. And during the discussion with the officer that showed up, Tyler certainly refers to it as his car, not his vehicle, because that's how most Americans, how most English speakers refer to a car, unless they're in the military or on the police force. So here is 2022 police body cam footage, in case you missed that, of Tyler making a crash report. Take a listen.
Your mom's on her way?
Yeah, she's gonna be a minute. She's got to shuttle over from where she's at to her car and then drive over.
Gotcha.
And that's what you
His
saw
mother
as the
was
viewer.
Gonna shuttle over from her car? Interesting.
Yeah, I was looking up at the light just before getting there.
Okay.
I saw it shift yellow, and as I get into the intersection being pulled, there was a vehicle in the lane.
Is that something that you say? I'm just going to go outside to my vehicle. I left something in my vehicle. Apparently, they just shoot the breeze with one another, and they say vehicle and retrieve. And if you don't believe me, then good. You shouldn't believe that. You shouldn't believe me when I say that. And Nick was particularly asking him to determine who owned a white vehicle. And everyone locally had looked at this vehicle and said, I can help you to just figure out more about this vehicle. And suddenly a president gets shot in a moving vehicle. November 22nd, 1963, JFK was shot. President JFK was shot sitting alongside his wife in a vehicle.
So there's a couple of ways that we could explain this away. A few ways. So she went on a long tirade, more or less, about saying people don't use this word. People don't use the word vehicle. They say car. They go back to their car. So there's a few options here. One, either she knew that he used the word in the video and just omitted that portion of it, which is dishonest, or she didn't know because she only reads what her producer sends her. Either way, she loses credibility. This alone, that is selective editing to the viewership. Selective editing to the millions of people that watch her videos. So is she just going on here and waxing poetic without doing any actual research? And she
As
just
his car.
Is she just kind of spouting off at the hip and says, here, just throw me some clips, guys, and this is what I'm running with. Find me some stuff for what I'm going to talk about today. The producers do it and she doesn't read it, she doesn't review it, she doesn't proof it. Or did she say, well, don't, leave out the part in that same video where he says vehicle and let's just run with the vehicle thing to try and prove my point. Either way, she loses credibility. Then there was the one that I covered a while back that was about the Charlie Kirk letter, right? This was a big deal. Charlie Kirk's letter to Netanyahu. Again, shout out to Milk Bar TV. Go on Milk Bar TV on X, and there's some amazing content out there. Here's another one. This is the Charlie Kirk letter, which she made a huge hoopla about, did tons and tons of content about this letter, about how it was deceptive. Let's watch this little mashup here, and then we'll talk about it.
Towards the end, Charlie was just authoring love letters to Israel, giving them a perspective of here's how we can win here's what you guys need to do. You need to work with this Hillel, whatever it is. Yeah, the same people that are calling me anti-Semitic, you need to work with those people harder. And he was just putting it on paper. Was it an email? What was that they were sharing on the New York Post, the Israeli Post? First and foremost, that letter he is holding up, he is severely misrepresenting.
So that first part was her response, by the way, after the letter came out. And we'll talk about that in a minute.
Those sentences are real.
This is leading up to it.
I'm saying you're severely misrepresenting the contents. Word of his deep love for Israel to a letter to Netanyahu. We're supposed to believe, did he send that as an email, by the way? Can somebody clarify, was that an email they were sharing? Or did he send it in the mail to him? Could somebody share that? And you're done.
Before I keep going, this is another one. She's saying, can somebody check on that? Was it an email? Was it a letter? You're the one who brought it up. You're the one who said that you knew exactly what was in it, that it was severely mischaracterized, that there was selective editing on Israel's part. And yet live in front of millions of people, you say, can somebody fact check this thing that I've been running with for weeks? That can you give me a fact check? Somebody give me a fact check. I know I've already put it out, but give me a fact check on that. Was it an email? Was it a letter? Do we know?
Doubling down on your lie. I told you to publish the full letter that Charlie wrote you, not lines of it. Okay? It's a lie by omission. He lied about the contents of a letter that Charlie Kirk had written him. I'm assuming it was an email. Can someone share the timestamp on that? just kind of like authenticate that email because I'm very aware of what's going on. Okay. And I don't know how the executives over at Turning Point USA sleep at night.
Oh, now it's Turning Point USA's fault. It's deflect, deflect, deflect. So I ran with this saying that I know what this letter entailed. I know everything that was in this letter, and this isn't all of it. Well, they said, here's all of the letter. Nope. I don't know how the people at Turning Point sleep at night. Was this an email? Was this a letter? Turns out I don't know anything about it. So it's this trying to save face, brushing it off, and she's trying to deflect as if the format in the first place, as if the format of the letter itself even matters. Charlie Kirk was such an influential person that he had the ability to either email or mail. He could send an email to the prime minister of a nation, or he could either mail or email that individual. Does the format really matter? Because we know Netanyahu read it. What was the big critique about Netanyahu? And I'm not going to play apologist for Netanyahu. I've got my own critiques about him, as a PM. But as if, Netanyahu was going out doing this social media influencer campaign, which la-di-da-di everybody does, but it's the Jews, so it's obviously got to be a big deal. And he was following suit with what Charlie Kirk had told him to do. Now, here's where she really became narcissistic. This is the one that, above all of it, and again, I've been doing this now for 3 videos. We're playing whack-a-mole with all the crazy Candace claims. And I say this with a lot of I would honestly say sadness, because I did have a great deal of respect for Candace Owens. I stumped for Candace Owens. I would be out there on social media. I was doing videos and saying, Candace, she's really sticking it to him. Oh, watch this. Candace destroys, all that sort of stuff. Listen to this one. This one, I want to say it takes
48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright. Okay, Charlie was done. He said it explicitly that he refused to be bullied anymore by the Jewish donors. Can you guys answer? Did he express that? Did he also express that he wanted to bring me, Candace Owens, back because he was standing up for himself? And then did he, just 48 hours later, conveniently catch a bullet to the throat before our onstage reunion could happen? It's a yes or a no. Yeah, I'm putting the fire here right at the feet of Turning Point because I am disgusted. I am genuinely disgusted. I am looking around and wondering whether Charlie's entire life was the Truman Show. None of you guys are behaving in the way that you should be behaving, okay? There is no way you are letting these lies fly unless, as I am hearing, unless it is true that there was a big payday that was on the line. And if Charlie radically stated that he was done with Israel, if Charlie said he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause because of, and I quote, Jewish donors, the behavior of Jewish donors, if he said that, yes or no, well then, I don't know, maybe some people didn't want to take that risk that he was going to become Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson at Turning Point USA with all of those presences, so much presence across college campuses. Maybe they didn't want to take the chance. And I will say this, you know what? Somewhere Charlie is watching, okay? And I hope he knows that we are reunited, okay? We're on stage right now, and the Jewish donors are very angry about it.
What a conceited narcissist she has become. What a shame. Because for somebody that's a great communicator, she's obviously a great communicator. Millions of people want to listen to Candace Owens. Millions of people do. And yet, no. It's because 48 hours later, she now says, which I haven't heard her say that until this point, that within 48 hours, she was going to be appearing with Charlie. And that's why they people took him out. Even though she has no evidence of that. Nothing to back that up. She keeps saying, I've got receipts. Any receipts. Jeremy from the Quartering. I don't know if you guys follow Jeremy from the Quartering. He's been posting a lot about that recently, and I agree with him. I don't agree with him on everything, but in that he said, just give us something. If you say you've got all these receipts, But all you're doing is driving people to your site based off speculation. And by the way, Israel, which is what she is talking about, they don't need to, take out, this is the implication that she's making or what she's implying, because she's rapidly exposing herself as a grifter. And people are starting to wake up to that. Thank goodness. But she's turning on everybody. She's turning on TPUSA, saying that by her saying that Charlie was in this Truman Show sort of environment, that he didn't even know what was going on around him. That gives zero credit to Charlie himself. It's disrespectful to Charlie himself, saying he's too stupid. This is the implication, because the only possible explanation is that in Candace's words, by implication, he's too stupid to realize what's going on around him. So he's in this Truman Show. He's in this fabricated world, this la-di-da-di world. And she's the one, it's the real reason that they took him out is because Candace was going to meet with him, and they couldn't have that. Guys, it is, and there's so many other things that I want to talk about, but I can't let this stuff hang. I feel as though it's almost irresponsible, even though I'm a small channel. Look, I'm a small channel right now. I'll grow if you guys hit that subscribe button, like button, and notification bell. I will grow. But while I'm this small channel, I still have I feel as though I have to say something about it. I can't let it just hang out there. And this is a meme that was posted here recently. I actually posted it in a video. It was back when all the conspiracy started. That this is really a good explanation of what we're seeing from Candace Owens. It's this me. And somebody dropped it in the comments. I glanced over, and I'm going to find that comment. When I get to the comments, I'm going to come over and highlight that one. But yes, it's all about her. And as I said before, this has become the feelings and vibes sort of thing. It's not about receipts or evidence. It's about, I feel, I think, I have these preconceived notions, so I'm going to run with it and tell my viewers that it's fact, even though it's assumption.
Being correct, a feeling is not a fact. Everything just spiritually feels very wrong here. Yeah. It feels like we are being lied to by who? I am not sure. We watched Charlie get shot in the throat. That feels a little bit symbolic. It feels like they wanted us to know that his voice was problematic. That, again, to me feels like he's a decoy. Like more people are involved in this, and I will say that. We don't know, but we know that something's wrong with this. Because if I don't feel good, this feels to me like a conspiracy. It feels a little fake and gay. Gotta tell you guys, it feels a little fake and gay. Surely, during a manhunt, you use drones. I feel like we are tech capable enough. I feel this kid, for some reason, some unknown reason, is being protected, because it feels to me, okay, that this is a conspiracy, a federal level conspiracy, which means that there's gonna be somebody else, maybe somebody close to Charlie, that could be involved in this.
And this is the point. By implication, people take this and run with it. Candace says she feels. We trust her intuition so much that facts, stats, evidence, void of any of that, I'm just going to take her word for it. Her gut reaction is just that good.
Right? When I am satisfied that there is no conspiracy, I will communicate that. But at the moment, no. I am feeling the exact opposite. I feel like they're two separate people. It's just a vibe that I have right now. We are looking, just a vibe, again, two different people. I was like, that doesn't look like the same person, like ish, but like no. And that feels intentionally grainy. So is this AI or is this a female fed that put these messages together? We're not feeling like it's Tyler Robinson. That's for sure.
This montage, by the way, goes on for like 4 minutes of her. It's feel, I think. And, we know this. If you're watching this channel, if you're subscribed to this channel, you know that if I have an intuition, I will tell you, look, this is not based on any facts. This is an intuition, but we have to look at it a little deeper. This is the formula for Candace has been make a truth claim, or what she said, either what she says is a truth claim, or she will give unfounded something. I've got receipts on this. And then lead up or follow that up with a whole string of assumptions. And she links them back to the one fact that she has. And I think I've already said that tonight, but I have to reiterate it. If I repeat myself, very well, then I repeat myself. Feelings and vibes. And she was one of the first people saying, facts don't care about your feelings, right there with Ben Shapiro, back when she, could hang out with somebody like a Ben Shapiro. Facts don't care about your feelings. And yet everything leading through this has been vibe, my feeling. I think this, I think that. We have to be that. This is, and I always say this to folks. I've been saying this on my channel for a while. Unfortunately, we have to do a lot of research. I don't think that anybody should take what I say as the gospel. I think you should go out and listen to other people's points of views. Yeah, I do it. I have to do it. Most people aren't going to do that. I get it. You're going to have your 3 or 4 or 5, 6. Some people have got 100 people that they follow, and you're going to see it as you scroll through. You're going to see multiple points of view. But when you find people that are intentionally trying to deceive you, that to me is an unsubscribe moment. When people are intentionally trying to deceive you, it's like, okay, I don't even need to listen to that. I listen to it because if you are still, or as I get more people, I want to highlight that stuff to you guys and show it to you all. And another person, by the way, this was a deceptive thing. I'm moving from Candace. I've seen a lot of these comments, and guys, I am going to get to them. We got a ton of comments going on down here. I will get to those as I get towards the end, but I have to say that, I'm wishy-washy on Tucker sometimes, but even Tucker, specifically when it comes to Israel, and I don't play apologist for Israel. I'm not one of the Israel can do no wrong type people. That's not me. It's not where I sit. But listen, I've got to give you some stats, and they're going to be in reference to what Tucker's talking about here. Listen to this.
As we speak tonight, there are 2 THAAD missile batteries in Israel. That's 1/4 of the world's total supply of THAAD missile batteries. The THAAD missile battery is an American-made, very high-tech missile battery that takes incoming missiles out of the sky. And 1/4 of the world's entire supply of these is in Israel right now, manned by U.S. troops, by Americans. In uniform or not, they are American military personnel, and they are manning these batteries to protect Israel. And that shouldn't surprise you, because since October 7th, 2023, which is a little less than 2 years ago, the United States has spent at minimum $30 billion defending Israel. Huge. And for some perspective, the entire Israeli military budget before October 7th was about $25 billion. So the United States has put at least $30 billion into defending Israel in less than 2 years. Over the course of its existence, a little less than 80 years, the United States has put $300 billion, at least, those are just the on-books numbers, into supporting Israel. $300 billion. Israel is by far, no one comes close, the largest recipient of U.S. aid over time and currently. So anyone who says, oh, it's just a drop in the bucket, it's totally insignificant, is lying or doesn't know the numbers. By the way, number 2 is Egypt. So why are we spending so much money on Egypt? Well, we're doing it at the request of Israel. So you could probably add that to the tally. It's not an attack. It's merely perspective.
Okay, there's more to this video, but I have to address some of this. This is where it becomes disingenuous. He says $300 billion over the course of, I forget what the time frame was. So I took the $300 billion, and if just to let you guys know, we have a memorandum of understanding with Israel that 75% of the money we give them, this is what we do with a lot of other countries, is we say 75% of the money, or whatever percentage, if it's for defense, is going to be spent on U.S. defense contractors. So it's essentially an influx of money that goes through one entity that gets, pitched out there as though it is, foreign aid, and then it makes its way back into the military-industrial complex. I've railed against this because that's what we did, in a lot of the money that we pumped into Ukraine made its way back into U.S. supply, into the U.S. economy via the military-industrial complex. So if you take the $300 billion that he's talking about, it's actually $66 billion. So we're not even arguing about the right numbers. That's the thing, is they say, well, it's just give the sum total. The rest of it, the details don't matter. We don't need to tell people that. he also talked about the THAAD missile system. So that's the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, and it's made by Lockheed Martin here in the U.S. And if I remember correctly, that's also what we use to launch the Patriot missile system. So it's kind of like and I didn't pull up a video or a photo of it, but it's kind of like the Patriot system that we've used to great success elsewhere. He said that we've sent half or 1/4 of the entire supply in the world, which means that there would be 8 batteries in the U.S. arsenal. So 8 batteries in the U.S. arsenal, 2 of them went to Israel. Did you know that this got used to defend the UAE? There's no outrage over that. To say that we have a THAAD missile battery in the UAE to protect them, and it was used successfully against Houthi ballistic missiles in 2022. But now that doesn't matter because it's not Israel. Everybody should be able to criticize Israel. You can criticize whatever country you want to. But when you start with incorrect facts and you start with distorted facts or lies by omission, which is what this is. 300 billion, we're sending them 3.8 billion a year. And that 3.8 billion, 75% of it comes back. We're talking about less than $1 billion that stays in Israel. The rest of it gets cycled back into the U.S. And when you actually do the numbers, he said, yep, the next one is Egypt. And I'll show you the numbers for other countries, not just Egypt, but other countries as well. So Ukraine tops the list right now. Ukraine, Israel, 3.3. It technically works out to 3.8. But Ethiopia gets 1.8. Jordan gets 1.6. Egypt gets 1.3. Congo gets 1.3. And this isn't just for military, by the way. So some of this is for humanitarian aid, humanitarian withdrawal, no military. That's in Afghanistan. We give them 1.2 billion. We give Yemen 1.1 billion. We give Somalia 1.1 billion. We give South Sudan 1 billion. Let's argue with the correct numbers. With our agreement, our specific agreement with Israel, 75% of it comes back into the U.S. Again, I'm not saying that we should be sending foreign aid to them. I'm just saying these numbers matter because it actually comes out to less than we're giving to Ethiopia, less than we're giving to Jordan, less than we're giving to Egypt, less than we're giving to the Congo, less than all of these countries here on the list. Again, we can argue about whether we should at all send foreign aid to anybody. But let's start with the correct numbers. And just to validate what I was talking about, U.S. and UAE, they intercepted Houthi ballistic missiles over Abu Dhabi. Apparently, he doesn't have a problem with that. I mean, this is why people. I'm not saying that he's paid by Qatar. I've made that joking claim, but I have no proof of that. But that's what people are calling him online. They're saying Qatarlson. He met with them, but that doesn't mean that he's getting money from them. However, what he is supporting, what Candace is supporting, it's supporting Islamists in a lot of ways over, Israel. And if we find common ground with anybody, they're our closest ally. That we have nothing in common with these countries run by dictators and theocrats in the Middle East. We just don't. We don't have anything. We can find common ground with them. We can work with them because we do with some of them. But the moral position that we take is very different from those countries. I know that firsthand, by the way. I can speak for Iraq and Afghanistan. So he obviously didn't have an issue with that. I tried to find a clip. If somebody can find a clip of Tucker saying that we shouldn't have anything over in the UAE to help protect them, please send it my way. You can DM me on X, and I will show it and say, "Oh, here we go. I missed it before." But this whole it's aggrandizing embellishing what he's saying. 1/4 of all of them are in Israel. That means 2 out of 8. Others are in the Middle East. So it's not just Israel that's getting it. UAE's got it. It's not a genuine argument. So I don't know. And that's what I'm tired of, guys. I really am. Hit me up in the comments. If you're just tired of people, it's swaying one way or the other and just trying to it's like this trickery is what it is. It's trickery. It's deception. And it's being done in some cases for clicks, others because of ideological reasons. But if anybody comes out and lies to us, I have a problem with it. I do. I have a massive, massive problem with it. Thank you guys for all these comments. So we are at the 40-minute mark. I'm going to get to some of the comments. If you're new here, please be sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button, which a lot of you are doing tonight. Appreciate it. And the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is released. I do live streams because I edit videos for a living. And I don't want to leave work and go do work. Plus, I love the interaction. I need the interaction. And so I just do live streams. That's what I prefer. Occasionally, I'll chop up videos and make smaller ones. But let's see. Okay, so yeah. So Beulah, I did do a collab. That was an interesting situation with Didi on Didi Got a Podcast. I wound up on his. It was actually by happenstance. It was kind of a fortuitous set of circumstances that had me on that show. And yeah, we had a lengthy conversation. I don't know if we're going to do any more. He hadn't reached out to me. I'm sure we'll connect. It's only been a short period of time, but I like having conversations with people that I don't agree with. And I actually did enjoy it. In a lot of ways, I got frustrated, but that's just part of it. I mean, we're having a conversation, and I'm not going to change somebody. He's not going to change my mind overnight. And, he's not going to change my mind, and I'm not going to change his at the drop of a bucket. But we can find some common ground, I think. Let's see. I've had Junior. Junior's been coming back for a while. Thanks, Junior. I appreciate it, man. YouTube doesn't put your show in live shows or as live in our subscriptions. I'm not surprised. I've had this shadow banning issue for a while, and the shadow banning has been with my impressions that I'll get. My click-through rates are great. People are getting into the video, but after a short period of time, boom, they just cut me off and they stop showing it to anybody else. It's frustrating, but you know what? If you guys will check in on my channel every now and then, as you're scrolling through YouTube, it'll help out. And if you see a new video, pop in there and give it a listen. Okay. Dawn, I would just say incorrect. So proof she lied. I just gave several examples. So I'm guessing you saw that. This was from a little while back, I believe. You made the comment a little earlier in the show. Anything I've seen her speak about has always had receipts. Not recently, and that's the thing. This is another piece of it. She used to have receipts. When she would make a claim, this is what gave her credibility in the first place, and why a lot of people liked her in the first place. But I think this narcissistic tendencies that she's got right now she's been riding that credibility, and she's riding it into the ground, in my opinion. All right, we got some American flags talking about Pete Hegseth. Yes, heart love. Candace is crazy. Boy, she certainly has. She's gone full on bipolar here. This is funny. If you think she brings receipts, you're part of the problem. Her words and texts to herself are receipts. Yeah, maybe this is internal dialogue and she's having conversations with herself. Could be full on schizophrenia. I don't know. Let's see. Nancy Grace, Jennifer LaFontaine. Hey, Jennifer, welcome back. I think you've been on here before. Let's see. Okay, this is a great point here. So Nancy Grace had a defense attorney on last night. She said what Candace is doing is a gift to Tyler Robinson's defense team and could absolutely get him off. That's how dangerous this is. I've heard several people talking about that she's making cases. She is putting it out there into the ether. A lot of things that can sway jury pools, things that can give a benefit to Tyler Robinson. If Tyler Robinson is the shooter, again, this is the report, and I go off that. I say this is what they are saying now. Things are still developing. Do I believe them 100%? I don't know. Their Paramount Tactical is let me see if I can pull them up. But you need to go and watch did like a 5-hour live stream about this, and I'm not even all the way through it, but these are special forces guys. I was big Army. I wasn't the special forces type of folks, but they've done some deep dives into, tactically, speaking from, ballistics and not tactically, but ballistically, the impacts that or what it would look like, why it looks like we see what is an exit hole, but it's actually being reported as, an entry wound. And they dispel a lot of the conspiracies. They've done a fantastic job. In fact, the video that I highlighted a while back was talking about the body armor. They were the ones who did that initial video. And since then, other people have done some ballistic testing on their channels. You can find boatloads of videos out there about it. But Paramount Tactical, go check them out. They're fantastic guys, and they're conservative Christian folks. So if that's an interest of yours, they seem like very, very good people. Let's see. Those of us who followed her years ago have seen, followed her years ago, have seen her change from a passionate truth seeker to an angry, hostile liar. What receipts do I have? There you go. Her videos. Let's see. Let me put my 10. Oh, Heart Love. I brought this up in one of my last videos. Yeah, the B cult thing, the underground Polish communist B cult. I mean, good gracious. Oh, wow. Yet her millions of every single word. Let's see. There you go. I mean, this is the commentary from a lot of people. I liked Candace, but not anymore. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, it's I don't know. Her engagement is going through the roof, and she's getting a lot of additional people. She's getting a lot of additional followers. So it's a balancing act. I don't know. I need to look at her stats. I'll probably go into there's something called, I think it's StatTube. It's or stat something. You can look at other channels' YouTube stats. It's very interesting to see what some of these big YouTubers are doing. Gives you estimate of how much money they're making, all that kind of stuff. In fact, let me see if I can pull that up. We could probably do that one live. Let's see. No, YouTube stats. I can't remember what the website was. You guys can hit me up in the comments and let me know. YouTube stats. View stats. That's what it's called. Let me see if I can log into it and Well, yes, I'm not. I am human. I was about to say yes, I'm not human. It's asking me to verify myself. All right. Well, that's trying to log in here. Well, it's not letting me log in. I think this would be interesting to see, where she actually sits on money. Well, that didn't work. Okay, I'll have to look at it later, I guess. Maybe I'll do that in the next live stream. In fact, I'll prepare that for tomorrow. So if you come back tomorrow, we'll talk about her stats, her view statistics, and all of that. She made a total. In 10 days, she made total $10 million off Kirk's. Whoa, okay. In 10 days, she made a total of $2 million off Kirk's death. She's not donating the funds to TPUSA or Kirk's family. She was never invited to the intimate funeral. Speaks volumes. Now, I'm going to take your word for that one, but I will try to verify that. I don't know for certain. Not that I don't trust you, Heart Love, but before I say that's 100% true, I need to verify it myself. But if that wouldn't surprise me. The millions and millions of views that she has accumulated, it's early on, it was at the very least high six figures, but it's got to be in the seven figures now that she is generating off of these views. Let's see. What a scoffer. She wanted to be Mrs. Charlie Kirk. He was never interested. Oh, I didn't know that. Let's see. Girly. Oh, I must have missed a comment. Jennifer LaFontaine said, I'm seriously so passionate about how irresponsible Candace is being. I'm about to do a video on my channel and haven't done a video in years. Yeah, absolutely. You should. And I didn't know you have a channel, but I'll definitely go check it out. That sounds great. I'm all about promoting other people's channels. That's something that I've tried to do. You know, it's hard to do sometimes. Get people to promote your stuff. I've had other folks, you know, I've done videos with the Chicago Conservative. I've had quite a few folks, you know, pop over from there to support my channel. But yeah, it's for us, especially small channels. Like if you're a small channel, it takes a lot of crosstalk and, you know, it takes a lot of collaboration and things like that. Like I just stopped at Tyler Robinson. I mean, this is true. This is true too. What's crazy is it's still an open investigation. She's making it seem like the FBI just stopped at Tyler Robinson. They didn't. They literally said it's still open. This is 100% true. Love the name, by the way. The handle. I love it. God is love. But yeah, this is something Kash Patel posted a while back and said, look, we're running this to ground. We're not just going with Tyler Robinson, though that's the person we've got DNA evidence. He's come out and said that we have DNA on the towel that the rifle was wrapped in. But he also came out and said we're exploring all the other things that have been published online. Accomplices. They're now in the tens, so it's like 20 up to 20 or 30 accomplices. I can't remember the last number. I've got it in notes for a different show. I would have to find it. But there's multiple accomplices. I did a thing on the one of my videos. We were talking about the crosstalk. It was part of the Washington Free Beacon article where the Discord chats and the Discord communications were going back and forth. People were saying, look, this is showing other individuals knowing that this was going to happen. Well, who are those people? And I guarantee you that's who they're tracking down. But it is an open investigation. We have to understand Kash Patel's doing his part. And is he handling it perfectly? No, absolutely he's not. The FBI never does. But a lot of us are hoping that we will see some improvements because, look, we are supposed to be, as Americans, distrustful of a powerful federal government. I'm distrustful of a powerful federal government. I know that you guys are probably distrustful of a powerful government, but we still have to have some faith and confidence in our institutions. And this is part of Donald Trump's, getting elected was restoration of at least some confidence in our law enforcement institutions, whether that's ICE or the FBI, domestically. There's a lot of rot still in those systems, and they're not going to get fixed overnight. But in this case, I am hoping that we will see we will see them handle this better than they have in the past. Restore a little bit of faith and confidence in the institution. And faith and confidence versus, us questioning them or us being skeptical of them, two very different things. We say, yeah, you need to make the case to the American people that this is what happened. Not just say, hey, this is what we found and take it or leave it, even though there's holes all over the place. No, you need to give us a good explanation. That restores faith and confidence in these institutions. Yeah, so, okay, here, Jennifer, you said that he was Tucker's a registered foreign agent. So there is a FARA document, and I brought it up recently, but it was going to the marketing firm that got him the interview with who was it? It was the Qatari. Let's see, who was it that he interviewed? Tucker's interview in Qatar. Was it Sheikh Tamim that he spoke with? Tamim bin Al-Hamad Al-Thani, whatever it is, Al-Thani. The Emir of Qatar. I think that's who he spoke with. Either way, there was a payment of, I think it was $180,000, or they were paying $180,000 a month to this marketing firm. And this marketing firm is the one that got them the interview in Qatar. I believe that's how it worked. And it was part of a FARA filing. So again, that's a linkage to, the Qatari money. Let's see. Trent Briggs says FBI is lying. They could be. I'm not gonna rule that out entirely. Let's say FBI always lying. Typical. Yeah. I ain't getting how it comes back to America from Israel. So the way that this works is they have a requirement to buy goods, services, whatever that happens to be. If we give them $3.8 billion and they're buying weapons, they have to buy from Lockheed, Boeing, General Dynamics whoever it is. So that money has to get spent back. This is not a justification that I necessarily like, because this is the same justification that the old school war hawks made for us sending money to Ukraine or sending money to other countries, because it's going to get spent back here in America. Well, it's kind of laundering America's money through foreign entities to put it back into our economy. So they say that it goes to helping American jobs and all this sort of mishmash. That's kind of the argument that they make. And I'm not saying I support that. I'm just saying for Tucker, when he says we've given $300 billion and we're giving $3.8 billion a year, we're putting $3.8 billion a year into them, but 75% of it gets spent back in America. And that could be buying grain if they're doing humanitarian aid, or it could be to buy, T-shirts and sweatpants or whatever it is that they're buying. That's how this stuff works. And I don't know all the legalities of why they feel that's a good way to do it. But it is a way to offset the cost for those countries and still have it come back into America, so it's not just a net expenditure on our part. Well, it is a net expenditure because we're still spending $900 million in that country, but it's to say we're offsetting the cost for you, and Americans get to benefit from it. But it's the military-industrial complex that gets to benefit from it. Boy, lots of comments tonight. Whoo-wee, thank you guys. This I agree with. Look, Trent Briggs, I don't disagree with this. I know most, a lot of your comments have been, you think Tyler's innocent and all of that stuff. But yeah, this is erase the crime scene. Where they did the construction on the crime scene. I don't know why they did that. Yes, I agree. That is shady. I'm not going to deny that. It's absolutely shady. Yeah, this is another one. The merch sales. I mean, she's selling the CIA, the Candace Intelligence Agency T-shirts. She's made, I know, millions off of that. And I'm not saying somebody can't profit. Look, when I get to the point, I used to have a T-shirt company. It was, and I stopped it. I got full bore into the video production, and I kind of let it hang. But it was Devout American Apparel, and I stopped it. But I'm going to revitalize that one, and I'm going to bring it back, and I'll start selling merch. But to say that I'm going to, make that a key component of videos that you're doing about, for any rate, you should, say we're not doing T-shirt sales this week. We're going to honor Charlie Kirk. We're not going to try to sell merch in the wake of his death. That's distasteful. Very distasteful. Okay. Oh boy, you guys are great with the comments. I appreciate it. So, okay, this is a great question. No, this has not been confirmed yet. The question was, if you guys are listening, so if you're on audio only, did TP USA confirm that Charlie was not wearing a vest? No, they haven't. Not that I have seen. But no, they have not confirmed that. And that's another disappointment that I have. Again, Paramount Tactical, their videos seem, in my opinion, are the most thorough. I like those. They don't go with conspiracy. They say this is what we're looking at through all the video content. That was he wearing a vest? There's a new angle that comes from Charlie's right side, and it shows again the impact, and then you could see the back basically bulging out. And if that were the case, people are asking if it was a soft vest maybe that he was wearing, because there are certain angles where it looks like that. I'm kind of ticked off that they haven't confirmed some of these things. I'm waiting for Kash Patel or Dan Bongino or somebody to come out and do a lengthy press conference and just say, look, guys, this is what we know so far. But I also get that they have to protect the investigation because they need to get a prosecution. Kathleen Kelly, yes, Andrew Colvett said he was not. Oh, I hadn't seen that video. If he said Andrew Colvett on, let me see. Let's see if we can find it, because if it exists, it'll be on X. Andrew Colvett on Charlie Kirk. Let's see. She wears husband Charlie a pendant that was ripped from his neck as he died. He was on Alex Clark. Okay. I mean, I'll have to check that out. I don't see the video on it on X, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So I will research that one. I have not seen it. Again, some of these guys who are going deep diving into the ballistics, like Paramount Tactical, I'm going to keep talking about those guys. They are still running with the possibility of body armor because I guess they haven't seen, whatever this report was. Now, his producer, this was, if you're talking about that was his videographer, the one who took down the camera. This is one, obviously, he took a ton of heat for that one. But that video, everybody's saying, oh, just throw the video out there. Give us the video. Give us the video. I mean, come on. That's again, evidence as part of an investigation, which the FBI does have in their possession. So I will check that out. In fact, I'm going to screenshot this. So let's see. Kathleen, I appreciate you sending me all of that. I will go see if I can find that video. And if that exists, we'll play that one in tomorrow's live stream. Oh, gosh. Okay, I'm not even going to entertain that one. This same Candace stuff. She's a liar. Yep, she's turned into one. That's for certain. All right, guys, thank you all so much. I truly appreciate it. Again, if you're new here, I've got some return folks, some that are, obviously disagree. That's fine. I'm totally okay with that because nobody's going to agree on everything. But be sure to hit that subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is released. I'm trying to get one of my buddies to come on. He's done a couple of videos with me in the past, and we're going to talk a little deeper about the Pete Hegseth stuff. But I mean, we'll see what we're talking about tomorrow. We'll see what Candace comes up with. Lord only knows what it could be. But our time has come to a close. Thank you, guys. God bless you. Let's see. Oh, okay. St. Meg, Candace 2.0 is in the chat under the name Trent Biggs Verified. That's funny. That's funny. All right, guys. Love you all. God bless you. God bless America. I will see you tomorrow night for another live stream. Have a great evening.